Nobody talks about the bizarre loophole hiding inside Amish communities. While modern homeowners drown in electric bills, the Amish have been silently running full workshops, powering garden tools, and managing entire homesteads without a single connection to the power grid. Their secret? A pneumatic power system so clever, so simple, and so forgotten that once you see it, you'll wonder why nobody told you sooner. Stay with me, this changes everything. Picture this. You walk into an Amish woodworking shop somewhere deep in rural Ohio or Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. You expect quiet, you expect hand tools, you expect the slow, patient rhythm of a people who rejected modern technology. Instead, you hear the sharp hiss of compressed air, the mechanical whir of a drill biting into hardwood, the rapid thud of a nail gun sinking steel into solid oak beams. These are power tools running at full capacity in a building with no electrical outlet in sight. So how is that possible? The Amish don't reject mechanical power. What they reject is dependency on the public electrical grid. That one distinction changes everything. Their communities hold a deep conviction against tying themselves to outside systems they can't control. Corporate utilities, fluctuating bills, infrastructure they didn't build and can't fix themselves. But compressed air, that belongs to nobody but them. A gasoline engine or windmill pumps air into a large storage tank. That pressure, released through a hose, drives every tool in the workshop: drills, grinders, sanders, impact wrenches, nail guns, all of it entirely off-grid. This is the loophole, not a workaround, a deliberate engineered system refined over more than a century of daily use. And this isn't just theory. Engineer and researcher Eric Engheim documented this in detail after studying Amish communities firsthand, confirming that the Amish use compressed air for everything most people use electricity for, and that it's so deeply embedded in their daily life, it's commonly called Amish electricity. Here's what makes this even more surprising. Pneumatic tools aren't just a workaround. They're better than electric equivalents in most heavy-use scenarios. Faster nail guns, cooler running sanders, impact wrenches that never fade mid-job the way a draining battery does. The Amish didn't settle for less. They accidentally built a superior system, and they've been crafting world-class furniture and barns with it ever since. But the compressor is only half the picture. The real genius is in how they distribute that power across an entire property. If nobody ever told you this before, subscribe, because there's a lot more they didn't tell you either. Most people, when they first hear about Amish pneumatic systems, picture a single compressor in a corner of a workshop. The reality is far more impressive. Many Amish homesteads and farms run a centralized air distribution network, a system of underground or wall-mounted pipes that carries compressed air from one central source to multiple locations across the entire property. Think about what that means. One compressor, one storage tank, and from that single source, pressurized air flows to the woodworking shop, the barn, the garden shed, the milking station, and the kitchen workspace. Every one of those locations has air-powered tools available on demand. This is not primitive. This is elegant engineering. The pipe runs are typically copper or galvanized steel, materials that handle pressure safely and last decades without degrading. Drop-down hose connections hang at each workstation, so switching from one tool to another takes 5 seconds. Now here's the part that surprises people most about the power source driving all of this. Gasoline engines are common, especially for large operations that need high CFM output. But a significant portion of Amish communities, particularly those in windier rural regions, power their compressors using traditional farm windmills, the kind that have stood on American farmland for over 150 years. Wind turns the mill drives the air pump, the pump fills the central tank, the tank feeds the entire property, zero fuel. Zero monthly costs, zero dependency on anyone. When the wind isn't blowing, the stored tank pressure covers the gap. A large 80-gallon tank holds enough reserve pressure to run a full day of light tool use without the compressor cycling once. Contrast that with how most modern homeowners power their workshops. We're connected to a grid we don't control, buying electricity at rates set by companies we've never met, using tools with battery packs that degrade after 500 cycles and cost $80 to $150 to replace. The Amish looked at that model and they walked away from it entirely. Now the real question is, can you build something like this yourself without a farm, without a windmill, and without spending a fortune? The answer is yes, and it's more straightforward than you might think. You don't need Amish heritage. You don't need acres of land. You don't need any special certification. A fully functional home pneumatic system can be assembled for $300 to $600 and it will outperform almost every battery-powered tool you currently own. Here's the proof before the parts list. A comprehensive analysis by Sortec Tools compared pneumatic and electric tools across power, durability, and sustained performance. The result was definitive. Air tools consistently deliver superior power output in every high demand scenario with zero performance drop from the first use to the 10,000th. Now here's what you need to build it. The compressor, a 20 to 30 gallon vertical tank compressor, handles most home workshops cleanly, budget $150 to $300 new. Running multiple tools simultaneously, step up to a 60 gallon two-stage model so it fills faster, runs cooler, and lasts considerably longer. The Airline One workstation needs a simple 50-foot rubber hose, multiple areas. Run 3/4-inch copper or galvanized steel pipe along your walls with drop-down hose connections at each station. Exactly how Amish workshops are built. Skip plastic hoses entirely. They crack in cold weather and fail under sustained pressure. The pneumatic tools, cost 30 to 60% less than cordless equivalents. A $250 cordless impact driver has a pneumatic twin that costs $60 to $90, with more consistent torque and zero battery fade ever. The number that makes or breaks everything. CFM, cubic feet per minute. Every tool demands a CFM level. Every compressor delivers one. Your compressor must meet or exceed your highest draw tools requirement, plus a 25% buffer. Get this wrong and your tools stutter, overheat, and fail. Get it right and the whole system runs perfectly every single time. One $15 coupler kit. Click in, click out. That's the whole swap process. Let's walk through this practically start to finish. Step 1, location. Your compressor needs ventilation, stable temperature, and protection from direct rain. A corner of a covered garage, a shed with a vent opening, or a covered outdoor platform all work well. Gasoline-powered units must run outside or in a space with strong permanent airflow. Carbon monoxide accumulation is a real and serious risk indoors. Don't negotiate on this point. Electric motor compressors can run indoors safely. Keep them away from sawdust accumulation and moisture. Step 2, lay your airline map the path from your compressor to every work area you want to serve. For a single shed setup, run the hose along the wall at chest height, supported by simple hose hooks every 4 feet. Keep it off the floor where it becomes a tripping hazard and picks up moisture. For a multi-area system, use 3/4-inch steel pipe as your trunk line, run it overhead or along the wall baseboards, and add threaded T-fittings wherever you want a drop-down hose connection. Seal every threaded joint with PTFE tape to prevent slow air leaks. Step 3, pressure and regulation. Set your regulator, that's the adjustable pressure dial on the compressor output, to match your tool's operating range. Most tools perform optimally between 90 and 120 psi. Use a secondary inline regulator at each drop-down point if different stations run tools with different pressure requirements. These cost about $10 to $20 each and give you precise control at every workstation. Before running any tool, test for leaks. Mix dish soap with water in a spray bottle and apply it to every fitting and joint. Bubbling means air is escaping. Tighten or reseal that connection before you proceed. Step 4, the drain ritual. This step is skipped by nearly every beginner and it destroys tanks. Every time compressed air is stored in a metal tank, water vapor from the incoming air condenses and collects at the tank's base. Left sitting, this water causes rust from the inside out. A rusted tank eventually fails, and a failing pressurized tank is not a minor problem. After every session, open the drain petcock at the bottom of the tank, let it drain for 30 full seconds, close it again. That simple routine adds years and sometimes decades to your compressor tank's service life. What to realistically expect your first weekend with the system: everything will feel noticeably more capable than battery tools, faster, cooler, lighter in the hand. Within 3 to 6 months, you'll stop missing cordless tools entirely. Within a year, the cost difference becomes hard to ignore. No battery packs to replace, lower per tool cost across the board, and zero electricity overhead if you go the gasoline or windmill route. Here's the angle that almost nobody covers, and it's the one that will matter most to homesteaders and gardeners. Compressed air isn't only for woodworking and construction. The same system you build for your workshop serves your garden in ways that chemical-based, battery-powered, or manual tools simply can't match. High-pressure natural pest control spraying. Connect a pneumatic spray gun to your air line. Fill the reservoir with a natural solution, neem oil and water, diluted Castile soap, diatomaceous earth suspension, and you have a commercial-grade sprayer operating at full pressure. The coverage is dramatically better than hand pump alternatives. One tank fill covers an entire large garden bed or a full row of fruit trees in minutes, with fine, even droplet distribution that gets under leaves and into tight growth where pests actually hide. This matters because contact-based natural pest control only works when the solution reaches the insect. A weak hand sprayer misses most of the canopy. A pneumatic sprayer doesn't. And you're doing all of this without synthetic pesticides touching your soil ecosystem, the biology that your plants depend on to access water and nutrients. Compare that to the chemical alternative. A commercial pesticide sprayer kit and a season of synthetic product running $200 to $400, leaving residue in your soil for months and killing the beneficial insects and microbes your garden actually needs. Soil aeration. Pneumatic soil probes, long, narrow tools driven by air pressure, can be pushed into compacted garden beds with almost no physical effort. They break up hardpan soil layers, create channels for root penetration, and improve water infiltration dramatically, particularly valuable in clay-heavy soils where compaction is a constant battle, and in established raised beds where years of use have compressed the growing medium. Precision seeding, air-powered seed drills allow precise, consistent seed placement at defined depths and spacing, tools used by commercial growers that can be adapted to a home garden scale using a standard pneumatic setup. The Amish figured this out across generations of growing food without the chemical inputs the modern world defaults to. Compressed air as a tool for natural chemical-free cultivation is a thread that runs through their agricultural practice in ways most outsiders never see. The bizarre loophole isn't just about running a drill without an outlet, it's a whole philosophy. Build systems you own, use inputs you control, maintain methods that work with the natural world rather than constantly fighting it. Let's bring it home. The Amish didn't give up power, they owned it. Compressed air runs their workshops, their farms, and their gardens without a single monthly bill or grid connection. You can do the same. A few $100s, the right compressor, and the right tool, that's all that stands between you and a completely self-sufficient setup. If this opened your eyes to something the modern world quietly buried, hit subscribe and stick around. There's a lot more where this came from. Drop a comment below. Are you already using pneumatic tools, or is this brand new to you? I read every one. Next up, the forgotten Amish root cellar method that keeps vegetables and fruit fresh for up to 9 months. No refrigeration, no electricity, no chemicals. The old ways aren't relics, they're solutions we stopped looking for.